This is the second time that I've been to Furnal Equinox, and the first time that it's been entirely by choice.
Sup, it is what I am. I know you can barely see me right now, but I gotta go to bed, because tomorrow Jack gets here, and then we go to Furnal Equinox, and I be gay.
I went to Furnal Equinox this year. It was pretty good. I did the thing again where I didn't talk to people because I don't know how, but I still had a good time. There's no real overarching story or anything. Like, I already clickbaited this convention changing my life once. I don't need to do it again. There were a couple differences though. For one, it wasn't just me and Jack this time. I also brought along Finks and his boyfriend. Definitely happy that we got the hotel. If we had to walk or Uber from the Airbnb last year, that would not have been fun. Thursday night, we arrive at the hotel. We got all settled in and shit. We do a little bit of a nappy.
A better man would have gotten a better nighttime city sweep skyline shot before turning the hotel lights on. I am not a better man.
We were going to try and register early on the Thursday night just so we could stay ahead of the curve, and apparently everyone else had that idea because the line just wrapped downstairs and back upstairs. We were advised to just register on Friday morning, which we did, and the line was significantly shorter. Now, really quick, while we were standing in line, I did make an attempt to talk to people with mixed results. I casually brought up that I should have brought down my water bottle when I was going to line up, and the person in front of me was like, I have a water bottle. And then they pull out a thing of apple juice, and I'm just like, okay. And then he told me to waterfall it, as in like open it and just, you know, so my lips don't touch the shit. However, I didn't actually hear him say that. When he said waterfall, I thought I just said water bottle again, and I thought he was making a joke about how he was calling it a water bottle, but it was the thing of apple juice. So I just drank it in front of him. So I essentially just stole this random person's bottle of apple juice, and I felt so bad that I immediately PayPal'd them $5. I offered to just buy them another apple juice, and like maybe I could get their contact info so we can meet up later, trying to use that as a little bit of a segue. But then they were just like, nah, PayPal me, and I'm like, cool, whatever, it's fine. They seem cool. Maybe they weren't looking for homies. But anyway, after that awkward interaction, registration starts and we go and get our badges. Opening ceremonies were cool. That's literally all I put in my notes. I don't actually remember anything about them. And then the first panel we checked out was called Fur Science, which is essentially just a group of professors and data analysts and scientists or whatever the fuck. They were all studying furry shit. Basically trying to hunt down any patterns, like what your species says about you as a person. Apparently that means nothing. Who knew? There was even a political section talking about what most furries identify as, which ones feel comfortable talking about their beliefs versus those who don't. Shout out to the 0.9% that self-identify as fascist. I'm pretty sure they're trolls, but I found that funny. We got lunch at a place nearby called Joe Bird, which was very good food.
Oh my God.
Our waiter was 67. We told him where we were, and I showed him my tail, and he fucked with it. As in, like, he thought it was cool. He didn't actually like try and grab it. That'd be weird. Then after we got back, we went our separate ways again. We went out onto the little terrace area. I'm debating whether or not I should say this next part, but it already happened and I never got caught, so whatever. So on the terrace, it can get really fucking windy. I learned this the hard way when I was wearing a hat that wasn't on super tight, and it went over the terrace. Notably, it just went over the fence along the terrace though. It didn't actually fall off onto the ground below in a place where I could grab it. No, it landed on the lip of it, basically, the area that's still flush with the terrace, but it's past the fenced off part, so you can't actually get over it unless you hop the fence. So guess what I did? Listen, in fairness, I hesitated for a while. I went back in, did a quick little lap, didn't see any like volunteer or anything, and I was like, I don't want to waste people's time at this convention with like just trying to go retrieve a hat for me. So I did it myself. I managed to find a spot where I could hop the fence on an area that had more foot ground, and then I was able to like ride it along until I found my hat, picked it up and went back. Shout out to the two other people on the terrace at the time who didn't snitch. There was the one dude who looked more terrified than I did though, which, I mean, I guess I appreciate the concern. While I was there, I also found someone's disposable vape that I picked up and then threw out later. So you could say that I was doing my part in helping clean up the environment. Please don't ban me for coming back. Next panel was Change the Game, which is just known as legally distinct game changer from Dropout.
I write poetry and sometimes I make anal porn.
Then we went to the dealer's den. I bought shit. I'm not gonna say which company it was because I don't want to give them any bad publicity, even though I still don't know what the fuck happened. But for those of you who don't know, I am very tall and I am also on the pudgy side. So when I buy shirts, I normally just get the largest one that they have. Worst case scenario, it just ends up being oversized on me, which is a look I fuck with. So when I ran to a booth that had 5XL shirts, I was like, I need to pick up a bunch of these post haste. So I got 2 5XL t-shirts from them and I went back to my room to try them on. I don't know what happened. They were both tagged as 5XL, but one was like so form-fitting, it was just strangled. It was like a fucking corset. And the other one, I couldn't even get over my arms. And it was not a me issue. I also gave it to my boyfriend. I also gave it to Finks. We did like multiple tests with these, and we could only determine that one was like a 3XL and the other one was like a large, even though they were both tagged 5XL. So no idea what the fuck happened there. Thankfully, the return process was super fucking easy. I just walked up, said that the shirts were mislabeled or something, and they were immediately just like, cool, here's like your money back in cash. And I'm like, Okay. And then I capped off the night with a couple raves. The two I saw were Dodge vs. Claire and V for Vienna. Both of them made me bop my ass. Then I went back upstairs and I fell the fuck asleep. So the first thing we did on Saturday was go to the You, Me, and D&D panel, which is like a crowdsourced Dungeons & Dragons thing. And by that I mean we didn't go to that because I'd slept in. In my defense, the curtains in the hotel room block out so much light. When I woke up, I just figured it was still like 4 in the morning. Eventually got to a point where I was so wide awake, I was like, what fucking time is it? And I checked my phone and I'm like, oh, it's almost noon. No matter though, because we got some breakfast, and then I went to the independent creator panel, which was hosted by one of the guests of honor, Stephanie, and I need to talk about this for a second. Getting serious for a second, when it comes to panels like this that are smaller and a bit more intimate, it's important that you're able to fully immerse yourself in it, to be able to actually hear what the person is saying, be able to ask questions, able to communicate. That did not happen at this fucking event, and there were two main reasons for this. Reason number one is there was some fucking self-serving like TikTok booth where there's just like a phone that spins around you and you can make TikToks or whatever the fuck, but the music that they play in the background was so fucking loud you could hear it from the hallway because it was right next to it. And even without that, number two, there was a giant ass fucking concert going on in the very next room, and they were constantly sound checking and making sure that everything was working so loudly to the point where you just could not hear her talk. Frankly, it just felt extremely disrespectful. Not just to the people who were attending this panel, but to the literal guest of honor that was in the room trying to do her thing. So yeah, I stayed for the whole thing, but I ended up just essentially missing the latter half because all the noise was just so distracting to me constantly. I don't know anything about organizing conventions, so I don't know what the title is for the people who help organize the schedule and everything, but for the love of God, can you have like loud ass events like concerts and everything like that not happen either right next to other quieter panels, or at the very least not be at the exact same time? Like, you already got the raves happening on the other end of the freaking convention center from where all the panels normally are. It can also be entirely a space thing as well. I know the Westin this year was completely booked out just like it was last year, so trying to find a way to keep almost 4,000 people entertained is probably not an easy task. But I feel like there's gotta be a better way to do it than just shoving this poor woman with a lot of experience that she wanted to share with people into a room where right next to it, through a paper thin wall, people are just banging drums as hard as they can. I don't know, that shit irritated me. But anyway, went to the VR chat meet and greet, did the cool thing where I don't talk to anyone at all, but I managed to capture my friend in the portal, and then I also signed the thingy. Does anyone know where those appear, by the way? After that, though, we decided to check out the 18+ dealers den. Now the moment you fucks have been waiting for. I have fantastic news. Unlike last year, the 18+ dealers den was not a total train wreck. I think Furnal Equinox definitely realized that the way they did it last year was not good, as opposed to having it be on one night in something that's super fucking tiny. What they did is they actually split the dealers den room off into two sections. There was a regular dealer den for the all ages shit, and then there was the 18+ dealers den for the people who had 18+ items to offer. It had its own hours as well, and they were a lot longer than just one night. There was someone at the door checking IDs constantly. It was literally exactly what I said it should have been, and it was pretty good. When we went, it was not crowded at all. There was a huge lineup for it on the Friday, obviously, but I mean, I think they handled it about as well as they could have this year, so good. Went back to the raves for the night, saw Tailspin, Amite. I don't know how to pronounce these names. They were both good though. I was going to do the midnight karaoke that was in the schedule, but the problem is that I was going to do it with Finks there, but then he ended up getting like food poisoning or sick or something, and I sure as fuck wasn't doing it alone, so I went upstairs and went to bed. Doing the karaoke shit would have been a bunch of fun, but I mean, I cannot do that alone. That's just not happening. The ideal karaoke experience is when you're surrounded by friends and you are so drunk you forget who you are. Sunday I woke up and then we went down to the Blue Dog meet, except for we didn't once again because I slept through it because the room was so fucking dark. But that's fine though, because we went to the fursuit dance competition and that was fun, that was lit. No one who I was hoping for would win, but the people who did win were still good, so cool. And then the closing ceremonies hit, and this was really cool actually. Hold on. Last year, about $14,000 was raised for Porcelain Wildlife, which is a Ontario wildlife rehabilitation center. Keep in mind the $14,000 total is after they racked up everything that was given in like cash, like really close to the end of the convention. The initial announced thing was $12,000 at last year's opening ceremonies. This year we learned that the amounts totally raised from the booth that they had in the dealer's den and the silent auction and all that fun stuff was 19 grand. For me, honestly, that seems fucking insane. But It gets even insaner. I didn't get their name, but some dude literally came up on stage and was just like, yo, I want to see this get past $20,000, so I'm gonna donate $1,000 right now. Sometimes the suspiciously wealthy furries can be useful. I don't know what the final total is after everything's been added up. If it's up already by the time I start adding this, I'll throw it there somewhere. I went to the hotel room, laid down, open laptop, started writing, wrote to this sentence: the boundary of the past and the future collapses on itself. I'm a very great note taker. Overall, it was quite a bit of fun. I am regretting the fact that I didn't talk to people, but I don't know, conventions are still the weird beast to me. I enjoy the environment, I enjoy the kind of camaraderie that's there, but it's just, I get so fucking awkward, man. But overall, it was a great time. Definitely gonna go back next year. It's gonna be lit. It was fun to be around so many fluffy people, and I cannot wait to do it again. Shout out to the patrons who I'll read now. I'll do it in post. I don't want to pull it up now. I'm gonna do this all in one breath, okay? Are you ready? Here we go. Gordon, Hakaimono, Foxy Boy, Calicrane95, Jargy Rufio, Firefox, Serial Saurus, Beast King Barbaros, Uber Bounty, Joel, S of Serval, Squall, Noodle HD, Okari, Mato Kalos, as well as the YouTube channel members Donnie Bryson, Stan Dan, and Theo Firefox. I still got so much breath left over. God damn. And that's about it. That's pretty much everything exciting that happened. I mean, I also got proposed to, but you know.